You're tuned in to Kitty Pink Radio, where black media matters. Keep it locked.
Yeah, so like people think growing up is over with after 18, and they have no idea. No, bitch, I have to deal with what happened to me in the first decade of that time. And I think that's how I ended up on so many goddamn couches telling people all my business. And I'm gonna tell you like this, it really hit home when my child got diagnosed with autism. I basically had to teach my baby how to communicate. And I learned how important communication is. And not only is communication just talking, being able to talk, but it's also being able to understand, being able to comprehend. So yeah, that's the podcast. That's it. Nothing more. Nothing less.
Hell yeah, KD.
You can hear the crowd sing along. Everybody know my songs. Had the crowd learn to walk. Country girl, small town. 14 years dedicated. Look, ma, I finally made it. Never thought I'd ever say it, but today I live my dreams. Bodyguards protecting me. Crazy fans loud screaming, flashing lights on every scene. Autographs, lots of pictures, signs that say we love you, kitty. Superstar, my new status, fantasizing. Please don't wake me, let me finish with the dream. Don't wake me up.
I lost me trying to find you, so I wrote this to remind you that I'm okay. I'm okay. I was lied to, but I tried to provide you with the things that only God can give. Only God can give. Plus I tried to revive you, but baby, how I'm supposed to breathe with no air? You know that ain't fair. That's why I had to learn to love myself. Baby girl, you should know it's okay to take your time. And baby boy, take it slow. You don't have to live a lie. You'll never find true love in someone. You'll never find true love until you truly learn to love yourself. Until you truly learn to love yourself. You'll never find true love in someone else until you truly learn to love yourself. Believe the signs when they show you, 'cause love will get heavy. If someone's not ready, yes, hearts will be broken, your faith will be tested. So keep on investing in you. And pain's not love, it requires much more than the eye can see. What I truly mean is that you've gotta love yourself before you love someone else. There's so much value in who you are. Baby girl, you should know it's okay to take your time. And baby boy, you gotta take it slow. You don't have to live a lie. You don't have to live a lie. You'll never find true love in someone else. You'll never, until you truly learn to love yourself. Until you truly learn to love yourself. You'll never find true love in someone else. about to love me now. It took some time to get here, I'll never turn around. I had to shed some tears to appreciate the smiles, and pressure makes diamonds. You know I'm about to say, baby girl, you should know it's okay to take your time. Baby girl, just take your time. Take it slow, just take it slow.
Thank you, everyone that is tuned in. It is another Tuesday, another 6 p.m. You are tuned in to Kitty Pink Radio, and this is Locked and Loaded. I'm asking everyone if you are on the feed. Okay, Albert Reed, I have an inbox. If you wanna ask me about music, baby, that's where you ask me about the music at. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. If you are on the feed, I'm asking everyone that can and will to please share. Please share. It is impossible for me to grow if y'all don't share.
My friends be like, how come you not famous yet? I be like, you didn't share my shit. How come you ain't shared it yet? That's what I don't understand. That's why I'm not famous.
Today we have a special guest with us. You guys know that I lost something that is very, very dear and near to my heart. My grandmother passed in October because of her complications with diabetes. And there were multiple other health issues, but I do know that all came from her not eating healthy, from not taking care of herself, just working and going on about her business like most of us do on a regular day. Today, I want to make sure that I pronounce your name correctly. It's Dr. Enqi.
Yes, ma'am. That's
okay. Dr. Enqi is here, has joined us here today. I've heard awesome things about him. Just to pop things off, why don't you introduce yourself to us real quick?
My name is Dr. Enqi. I'm a master herbalist, sports nutritionist, elite calisthenics specialist, and a naturopathic doctor. But my most, I would say, prestigious, my most prestigious title is dad. I have 10 children, half of which are grown, or on their way to being grown. And then my youngest, I have 5 little ones that I raised myself, and so that that kind of occupies most of my time when I'm not doing, so like for instance, when the quarantine hit, my lifestyle didn't change much.
Right.
I was already in quarantine, so yeah, that's what I do with most of my time. That's the thing that I'm most proud of, anyway.
Okay, got you. So what got you started on the journey that you're on right now?
I don't know.
Is that a "Make America Great Again" hat on your head?
Yes, ma'am.
You a Republican?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you came to start some trouble tonight, I see.
Well, I mean, the Democrats,
I'm just teasing you. That's what my audience is gonna think, though.
No. That's why I got it. I ordered this hat specifically. Once I went to the supermarket as a single father with 5 little children. Once I got to the supermarket and I seen that the cost of bread done went up damn near $1, and I seen that now I got to pay $13 for detergent. I said, "Oh, these Democrat niggas got to talk to me. Somebody got to talk to me now. Somebody got to explain this shit, because all the money in the black community done dried up. Small business money done dried up. Motherfuckers get vaccine mandate. Niggas done got 17 shots and they still need to get a booster." I'm like, hold on now. Y'all got some explaining to do now. Now we got to have these conversations. So I just want people to know, because you go into a little tiny closet and pull the curtain behind you and cast your vote, you don't get to come out of that curtain and act like you're not responsible for whatever you went inside that curtain and did. So if you voted this guy in office, you do not You do not get to walk around and have an attitude about these vaccines now that people finding out that the shit turned into some other shit in your liver, and you know the gas prices is $1,000 a gallon, and you niggas all voted for these changes.
True. Very true.
And we knew who he was because he signed he wrote and signed the 94 crime bill in office that allowed for police to kill black folks and get away with it. So, you know, I just want us to understand that sometimes it's not about, at least in terms of politics, it's not always about having a hypothetical best choice. It's really sometimes it comes down between the best between two evils, or the lesser of two evils, I think is how you say it.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. So back to my question. What got you started as far as your let's start with the concerns. Where did your concerns come from for you to even get on this path?
Honestly, I had no intention in my childhood, my teenage, this was not a plan for me. I you know, like I'm 44, so most of the generation, most of my generation, you know, we was you know, Biggie Smalls would have been a part of this my ideology. You know, either you was slinging crack rock or you had a wicked jump shot. So, you know, we was looking at the hustlers, and we was looking at, you know, Michael Jordan, I Believe I Could Fly, and all those types of movies. And my life changed when well, I always had a hobby of science and studying science. So that was a thing that I guess God was kind of subtly preparing me for what he wanted me to do. You know how they say in the church, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plan. You know what I'm saying? So I guess God was, since I was born, he was kind of grooming me to become, you know, the Dr. Enqi that everybody knows today. But yeah, that wasn't in my life plan. And then I guess my first real experience healing was myself. You know, I had a seizure and my heart stopped. At the time, they didn't understand what, you know, how that happened, because I'm not epileptic. I didn't have a history of seizures or whatever the case may be. I think it was somebody at my going away neighborhood. Like, neighborhood had a little going away situation for me because we was moving. I was leaving New York and moving to Georgia the next day. And so the neighborhood, you know, it's drinks, it's, you know, it's you know, it's the going away situation, you know what I'm saying? And so I think somebody had slipped me a Mickey and tried to take me out of here that night.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because I had blacked out that night, and when I woke up, the first thing that happened was I had the seizure, and then you know, my heart had stopped and I was gone for a little while. And so that was a situation. I kind of lost a little bit of my physical functionality, you know, like my arm and stuff like that for a while. So I had to, you know, in that space, that's what I really had my first taste of like going on an all vegan diet. And I was so like fearful and scared. You know, it wasn't out of knowledge or understanding. It was
I
just
was about to say, our black people love to jump on that train without and this isn't this is general. I think that all black people love to jump on the let me become a vegan train whenever they get sick. And the thing is what it is a smart decision, but the thing is you should be doing that to begin with anyway.
Right.
We're not supposed to be eating all this meat. First of all, that stuff is heavy. So
yeah. But the thing is that's why I always stress to people when they come to me and they ask what they need. A lot of times people come with their purse or their wallet, and I'm like, you need to put that down. The first thing you need is education and information. You know what I'm saying? That's the first thing. But you know, I was so scared of what had happened because I realized I was on borrowed time at that point, and I didn't have 7 of my children. I have 10 children now. So I always remind them, like, y'all are all miracle babies, technically, because that was on borrowed time when I made you niggas. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I went crazy with it. You know, I wanted to have the dirt still on the food when I ate it. Like, I went that type of vegan. Like, I need to see it come out the ground, damn near.
Right.
And so I recovered and had a full recovery. I was after about 6 to 9 months, I was better than I was um before the situation happened, because of how I had took care of myself. No alcohol, no smoking, no tobacco, no meat, no cooked food. Like, I was going
A
crazy.
complete fast, yeah.
Yeah, and just soaking the sun all day, every day. Like, I was in the sun all day, every day. Like, I had my boxer shorts on, going to sleep in the backyard on the beach chair every
Right.
day. And so that. Years later, my daughter had got hit by a car. A nurse was in it. And I guess this was God's second wake up call for me. I guess the first time wasn't enough. But so she gets hit by a car, and just to make the situation as ironic as possible, it was a nurse that fell asleep in the car.
Mm.
She said she had like a 3-day shift, and she fell asleep at the wheel, jumped the curb, hit my children, ran into the flower shop on Webster Avenue. Um, and we took her to 3 different hospitals. They all said that she would be lucky if she makes it out of ICU.
Oh my God.
Yeah, her neck was broken, her spine was broken, her
Oh
pelvis was
Jesus.
crushed, her left leg was crushed. In fact, but the irony of that story is, like, I wound up healing her and getting her back together and all that kind of stuff, and that's how I got crazy. But the reason I'm late is because I was on the phone with her and her fiance. She's got engaged because she's having a baby now. She's pregnant. She's in college. So we was kind of going over some stuff, but it's just it I've seen miracles in my life. I've
Okay.
seen real miracles in my life. So a lot of times, people know me for getting into health debates and arguments over Sabi and some of those different things. But even
So
before I
you
had
are
ever heard of
so you
Dr.
are a supporter of Dr. Sabi.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm
Okay.
a supporter of
Okay.
Dr. Sabi, Dr. Africa,
That's
Jewel Group,
dope.
like all of the OGs that kind of laid
Right.
the foundation. I think, you know, I've seen, before I even met or heard of these people, I had already seen real live miracles in my life. So when my heart stops, not somebody else, when my heart stops and then I go on a plant-based diet and recover, what can you tell me? When
Right.
my daughter's neck and spine get broken, and the number one doctor in the northeast portion of the country, Dr. Lee, he was the foremost expert at the time. When he tells me she may not make it out of ICU, if she does, she'll be paralyzed for life at best.
Mm.
When I take matters into my own hands, and she has a full recovery, and when I say matters into my full hands, I'm talking about I didn't take the food in there. I had stopped them from taking blood and like I took over. When I do that, what can somebody tell me? Like, it's nothing you can really tell me after that. Like, because I already know what the possibilities are. I've already lived it on myself and then demonstrated in terms of my baby. So it's nothing that Um, but when I look at the elders, I look at the elders, and I think that a lot of times people don't really respect people that really sacrifice their life for them because of what it means on the inside to them as a person. So what they'll do is they may look back at a Dr. Sabi or Dr. Africa or anybody in that space, and maybe they taught us 100 things. Maybe 5 or 10 of those things was wrong. They will try to grab that 5 or 10, whatever it is. They'll try to grab that and use that as an example of why we should ignore all 100 things we learned
Right.
from the person,
Right.
because inside they have personal addictions and personal convictions that are um obstacles that for whatever reason they just can't surmount in order to make the personal change that they need to make to get to their genius and their greatness.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easier for them to try to minimize the genius and greatness of those that look like you.
Right.
So
Right.
they'll accept the genius and the greatness of a white person or Indian or a red person or a Chinese person or even a black person from Africa. They'll accept any other person's greatness, but somebody from their neighborhood or a neighborhood like theirs, somebody that grew up in like circumstances that's like them, that achieves greatness or demonstrates genius, they have to knock the person because otherwise the mirror reflection speaking back to them says,
Every time.
what you waiting for, nigga? Let's go.
Every time.
What you
Every
waiting for
time.
what you waiting for to turn your life around, to turn your health around, to tap into what your dream is because you gave up and now maybe you work for the city or you got a decent job or maybe you didn't even find a decent
Right.
job. Maybe you struggled. You got a struggle job that you hate. You
Right.
don't have to settle for that, but something in you has allowed you to settle for, quick Denny's and Burger King shit and eating lunch and shit out the gas station. Like you settling for that. You don't have to
Right.
do that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We can all become the greater version of who we are on the inside. So I
Mm-hmm.
think it's a personal thing that leads people to kind of knock, because we when we look back at these people, a lot of times these guys done sacrificed their whole life for the betterment of black folks as a whole. How the hell can you knock somebody that does that? Even if you
Right.
disagree with them, how can you publicly make a platform to try to get other people to dissuade them from absorbing the jewels that they might have left for us? That just doesn't even
Right.
make sense. That's insane.
Right. I think one of my biggest things that one of the biggest things that I wanted you to kind of weigh in on is diabetes because I've lost my grandmother and she lost almost all her sisters and brothers. The ones that are remaining, they're fighting with diabetes, and I know for a fact, they come from that era where it was you just have to eat what was prepared, or what you could afford. My grandma came from a family of 17 sisters and brothers. So yeah, well, you ain't too sure, doctor. Now she got you about 7. But she came from a big family, and all they've known their lives is to just work and feed, and even though we got to a point to where we could have easily tried to switch up, you know just as well as I do that it's a long journey to retraining your taste buds, and it's not that. Which I mean, they ate a lot of vegetables because they came from the farm life. I came from the farm life. They ate a lot of veggies, but they also ate a lot of pork. They also ate a lot of. I'm from the country. I know y'all gonna squeamish. Don't do me, cause it's delicious. Raccoon, rabbits, squirrels. So I mean, I come from some good eating, and a lot of the women we kind of heavy in our family as well. So I really, really wanted you to weigh in because now I have my mom and her siblings are now dealing with the demon. And like I said, we lost my grandmother. That was a really, really big deal to our family. And I'm just at a point now where I'm tired. Every time one of my people go to the doctor, my baby brother, and mind you, I said my baby brother called me and said, sis, I got it. So now I'm at a point I want to learn any and everything that I can. I want to help them. I want to inform them, and not just them. This is a big plague over the black community, and we don't pay it any attention until they cut the first toe off, and then they cut the foot, and then they amputate both legs. So today I want you to really, really weigh in on diabetes.
Okay, well, the first thing I'm doing right now is sending you. Okay, the first link I just sent you, I want you to put those 2 links in your description. So that way everybody that sees this video have access to the article that we changing the world with, and then the entire program on how to get their health back.
Okay.
And those 2 things are free. There's no cost for that. So it's not okay, we're gonna break it down to you and then tell you, you know,
Right.
in order to learn how to do it, it's gonna be 3 installments of $69.99 every. No, we're not gonna do it. So you can put those in the description for the family,
Oh shoot.
and
You
then
funny.
yeah, yeah. Well, you know, this is just real shit, you know. Um, so here's the thing. The first thing is, it took me a long time to figure out this diabetes thing.
Hmm.
It took me a long time because the first thing that we hear is that as black folks, diabetes is something that we inherit.
Right.
You know,
Right. And that is not true.
yeah, that's not true. And then the second thing I heard, you know, coming up listening to, you know, some of the holistic healers and those folks, the second thing I heard was, you know, it's lifestyle based.
Right.
And that I found out after years of study and even being able to actually help a lot of people beat type 2 diabetes. Some people didn't fully beat it, but they got their sugar and stuff under control. They couldn't really commit all the way. Um, but I found out that wasn't 100% true. I really dug down to the bottom of this because as a young man in love with science and you know, I want to say that it might even be like a mental illness of mine, but my brain works a certain way. Um, if I want to know something, or if I'm presented with a certain type of mystery, I can't sleep until I find out what it is. Like it becomes a like a
Obsession.
like a man. It becomes an obsession and haunts my mind.
Hmm.
So certain things just bothered me. Like for instance, we heard very early on. I think the European scientist is named Dr. Mendel or something like that. But he was the first one to really create the science based on inheritance, you know, from your parents, and these genes are recessive and these genes are dominant, and
Right.
that whole kind of thing. So you learn that in school.
Right.
And in school, they taught that, you know, the black folks had the dominant genetics.
Right.
That immediately fucked me up. Everybody else was happy about hearing that shit. Like, yeah, black folks got dominant genes. White folks got dominant genes. For me, that shit created problems in my mind. I was
Right.
niggas. I'm like, what the fuck are y'all happy about? How the fuck do we got dominant genes, but we got a shorter lifespan?
Hmm.
How do we got dominant genes and we at higher risk for all the fucking diseases? I said, no,
Right. Right.
something,
Some ain't right.
something ain't right with this part.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that was one of the things that haunted me in the back of my mind. Getting a little bit older, getting into touch with my conscious, you know, my conscious, spiritual, tantric, you know, getting into all of that type of stuff. I learned that melanin, you know, black folks, we got the melanin, and that melanin, you know, when you got the U melanin, not pheomelanin, but the U melanin is able to absorb all manner of electromagnetic radiation from sound all the way up to ultraviolet.
Right.
I'm like, wow, okay, this is some fly shit. But again, that fucking brain of mine's create problems. I'm asking my teachers in high school, I'm like, hey, so if melanin absorbs all manner of electromagnetic radiation from sound all the way up, what happens to it after melanin absorbs it? Because the law of thermodynamics states that energy can't be created or destroyed. So melanin must do something with that after it absorbs it.
Hmm.
No fucking answer. I go to the conscious community where everybody is in love with fucking melanin and angst and all this.
Right. And they can't answer it either.
No fucking answer. I'm like, I'm just gonna put this in the back of my mind. I started to get my hands on, you know, anything I could, you know, Carol Barnes, T. Owens Moore, Jewel Pookrum back when she had the spacey outfits. Dr. Richard King was on fire at the time, with his melanin science. And then, later on, Dr. Africa came on the scenes. I'm combing through everything. Every book they release, I'm on it. Read it 2, 3, 4 times. I'm like, nobody answers the question. We still got to deal with this. So anyway, this stuff is in the back of my mind. Fast forward, I would be lucky enough to really meet and create a relationship like mother and son almost with one of Dr. Sabi's wives, Mama Pill. I got to learn some stuff from her in terms of sharpening up. By the time I had met her, I already had I already healed my daughter, and I already had I already traveled coast to coast 10 times teaching about the body and have my own herbs and all kinds of stuff. But she was able to put things in a different perspective by giving me a different window into understanding, the Dr. Sabi that nobody really knew. You know what I'm saying? Because you hear shit, you see the little videos and shit, but ain't nobody gonna tell you a nigga business like an ex-wife.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? And she always to this day, you know what I'm saying? She loves him. You can see how she talks about him, you know what I'm saying? So she was able to explain to me like his evolution and in terms of how he spoke and taught to the people and converting from really sciencey to maybe more storytelling and just some of the things that you wouldn't get from him or maybe from watching videos. So that really helped me learn some stuff. And then I put on well, I ain't gonna say I did it on purpose because I didn't. I was eating like a fat ass, and my homeboy said that I needed to go on a fast myself. And so that kind of spread like crazy, competitive spirit of black folks. You know what I'm saying? We start talking shit to each other, who got more discipline, who city stronger, and all this other kind of shit. So before you know it, Chicago and Columbus, Ohio, we competing with Philly and New York. And my homeboy Diallo, his wife had a church group, I want to say, from Ghana who was there at the time. They took the 40-day fast that I had designed back to Africa. And so it got, it kind of spread on its own. And everybody who joined in on the fast got amazing results. And that was how it kind of grew, legs of its own. So immediately I had to write a book on it, put the book out, and I did it probably, every year annually, maybe 2, 3 times a year for the better part of 10 years. And in that window, it gave me the ability to really analyze different people on the same, because when you do like real research, a lot of people nowadays, they think research is Googling shit or watching somebody else YouTube video.
Right.
I have to tell these niggas
nobody wants to read.
Yeah, I have to tell these niggas all the time, like, bruh, you're not doing research by watching my video. No. You are lying to niggas when you watch me and then go back to your circle and try to remix my shit and pretend like you came up with it.
Right.
You're not only are you your own culture vulture, but you lying to them folks. You didn't do that research. I did, nigga. You just stealing my shit.
Right.
But so, when you do real research, it's basically 3 types of, it's 3 categories. It's either quantitative, qualitative, or mixed methods. So one form of research is really based on like examining people, talking to people. If you do a study on them, you get what they felt like, that kind of stuff. And then on the other side, you have.
I need you to be quiet. Go back your way.
Yeah. It's all right. I got babies. But on the other side, it's more data crunching and numbers. And so, you always want your findings to be duplicatable. That's like what the most important thing is. And, being able to put people on one fast from all types of, Black folks, white folks, Chinese folks, Japanese folks, Germans, Africans, Haitians, Jamaicans, Dominicans, Brazilian niggas, like all types of people. Then I had within those differences, I still had people that was hyper healthy. I had like people that were vegan for 30, 40 years. You know, I had
Mm-hmm.
Super Bowl winners. I had NBA players. I had college sports athletes. I had street athletes. I had cancer patients, diabetics, lupus patients, kids with, like just every walk of life. I've been able in that 10 years, in that 8-year span, to put everybody under the microscope and kind of examine how, this 40-day fast would affect them. And the fast wasn't like a dry fast, it wasn't a water fast. It was basically fruit of the earth, so 40-day fruit fast, but it was based on fruit of the earth, meaning anything that grows naturally, right? So vegetables, fruits, seeds, nuts, that kind of thing.
Right.
In different phases, 5 steps to a more and more stringent diet as you go on. So it's really like 5 different miniature fast, 8 days a piece. And that adds up to 40 days. So within that time period, I got to notice like a series of anomalies that led me to some crazy discoveries. One of which was that the most obvious anyway was that the less calories people consumed, the better that they did.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about I had professional bodybuilders and athletes, and for them it gets crazier. You would think that for somebody that's sick, it would be more pronounced, but when you're in a sickly phase, your body automatically shuts down and you don't really have much of an appetite.
Right.
So anything nutrient dense is kind of going to help them out no matter what it is. So
Right.
that you kind of got to take with a grain of salt. But when I got athletes that been bred and raised as athletes on the fact that you got to have calories or you're going to
Right.
lose muscle, you're going to lose power, you're going to lose strength and all this kind of shit. When I got these guys looking stronger, looking sharper, some of them even got a little more like three-dimensional. Like some of these guys is looking bigger and they're all eating less calories. They're
Mm-hmm.
all eating less calories. I had to start to look into the basis of cellular respiration and basal metabolic rate and all that kind of stuff to figure out what kind of anomalies were like what was because also you know in the back of my mind still I got these questions about melanin, I got these questions about type 2 diabetes, like why is it that black folks getting type 2 diabetes more than anybody else, like all these little so I'm using this window into being able to and having people trust me at a certain level to really be able to look at and just tell everybody like, look, not only are you doing this for yourself, but you're doing this for everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
You don't realize at the end of the day what I'm gonna do with this. And because it was so long, people were like, this nigga bullshit. And he ain't really doing no studies. You know what I'm saying? But I was compiling the information.
Right.
And so I began to notice, like I said, that people were having, more energy, you know, sick people were feeling better, mental clarity, mental illness, just everything was working better with less calories.
Mm-hmm.
So I started to dig into the history and I found the first thing that I found was that all of the tests that they ran to validate the various hypotheses that became our scientific maxims of today, none of them included black folks.
Mm.
Most of these tests that they based respiration on were done on
Right.
plants,
Caucasian.
rabbits, deers,
Oh,
pigs,
actual
cows.
things. Okay.
So, immediately what comes to mind is that none of them have eumelanin. The sun played
Right.
no role in their, and then even when they had done people, it was like a very small group. I think it was a couple of white folks in a room that was dark with no sunlight. And this became the standard all around the world for how people process energy.
Okay.
So
My brother, respectfully, can I stop you right there? Anita, sweetheart, if you gonna come on my platform and try to promote somebody else while somebody else is here speaking, at least share the platform first. Thank you. You may continue.
oh no, you got to delete that. That is a fake. Yeah, they follow me wherever I go. I get the.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. So
yeah,
delete
that's a
it.
fake thing.
Okay.
That's a fake thing. That's a
Okay.
like.
That's a bot.
That's a well,
Okay.
I'm not even sure if it's a bot, but they promoting some email address that you send money to, and nothing
Okay.
ever
So
comes back.
for my viewers, I have to clock people because people will try you because they think you're busy and you just into the interview. But I pay attention to everything. I'm very observant. If any of my people seen that, y'all disregard that. We don't know that person and continue, Doc.
Yeah.
I have to get people together around here sometimes.
Yeah, just block them silently because they want the verbal like for the rest of forever. They're gonna live in this video. You know what I'm saying? So I learned to block niggas silently. You won't even get a vocal like you just out of here. Zoop. But so I going back to these studies, I noticed that we weren't in there. Period.
Right.
So these now becoming the standard all over the world for hospitals, for trainers, dietitians, nutritionists, like it automatically puts us at a disadvantage. So once I got that, now I'm starting to get an inkling to how we have an energy metabolism problem, right? Because that's what diabetes is. Diabetes is blood sugar not being able to get into the cells to be metabolized for energy. So at the end of the day, it's an energy problem in your body. Your body's not able to metabolize the glucose to produce the ATP.
And that's where we get fat from, right?
Yes, we're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to it. There's some other stuff that I learned.
I'm excited. I like to learn.
There's some other stuff that I was learning along the way. You know what I'm saying? That really started me to going into some other spaces and really learn how much of this was actually planned genocide. Like how much of this
absolutely
is
yes.
And what it's gonna come down to after the world really gets a load of this shit. What it's going to really come down to is another syphilis situation. This is what they're going to do. They're going to say, oh, we didn't give this to y'all. We just didn't treat y'all for it.
Right.
we just let y'all die from it. That's all. We didn't give it to you. We just watched millions and millions and millions of you niggas die from it.
Right.
Because when you look at the charts, if you go back and look at the charts for like the last 200 years or so roughly of diabetes, the chart is a flat line right up until you get to around 1865, 1863. Right. That's when the chart goes like this. So when I seen that chart, I even had to ask myself, I said, what the fuck happens in this year right here? So I started looking around to figure out what's happening in the early 1860s. And then I go, bang. Black folks got free. I said, hold on, man. There got to be some shit to this. So now I'm digging into everything. And I find out that, because we kind of been culturally led to believe that slavery was about cotton.
Right.
That's not the truth.
Exactly.
Slavery was about sugar.
Uh-huh.
And Christopher Columbus is famous not because he discovered America. He's famous because he was the first one to bring sugar cane over here. Mm-hmm. So they had a 300-year window to study our bodies and find out that we can't survive with sugar. Like sugar literally is the kryptonite of Black folks. We had a 7-year lifespan from the first day we started working in the sugar field. That's how effective sugar was at killing us off. Wow. And not a working lifespan. I always had to make this plain. Lifespan. From the very first day you start working in the sugar field, you will be dead in 7 years. So that kind of, even people that may have had curiosities like, why would they constantly need to replace slaves so much? If slaves is having sex, making
making
babies.
more babies.
And then they was taking big slaves and using them as studs and taking them to different places and making like, why would they still need to replace? Because they were burning them out in the sugar field, just killing them and so once I got that piece, I started to understand that this was like a cover up. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? There's a reason that melanin is the most important molecule in the human body, including white folks, Chinese folks, all around the world. Doesn't matter who you are. Melanin is the most important compound in your body, but you don't really find it in the science books.
Nope. Nope.
Even
I never heard of melanin until I became an adult.
yeah,
Straight up.
it's not they refuse to teach that shit in school. But I'm putting the pressure on them.
Right.
They're gonna have to put melanin in the fucking book and put my face next to it. Bang. I'm not letting my studies go anywhere without me. Niggas like, yo, when we read these studies, it's a lot of you in your article. I'm like, yeah, nigga, that's the problem with science now. That's why so many black folks have had their shit stolen from them.
Right.
Elijah Muhammad was the first person to really popularize intermittent fasting. And you hear intermittent fasting everywhere, but you never hear Elijah Muhammad name with it.
Right.
Because niggas done extracted the culture and extracted him away from it. So now it's intermittent fasting. And when you look at references for that, you got to reference white folks to get any information. No. If you want to know about intermittent fasting, you need to read How to Eat to Live, Volume 1 and 2. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Sebi discovered the strength of a carbon-based diet. What did they do for Dr. Sebi? They locked that nigga up. They threw Dr. Sebi ass right in jail. Like, what were you saying? Carbon can heal all manner of inflammation and disease? Oh, yeah, get your ass in jail.
Right.
And what did they do? Like less than 10 years later, they gave three white guys a Nobel Peace Prize saying the same thing. Right. So I'm like, no. We're not doing that with me. I'm all up in my shit. All my face is in there, my pictures and diagrams, nigga. I'm all in my shit. Because we have to put our foot down on this and really force this to happen. Like every aspect of your neurochemistry and your biochemistry runs through and by melanin. I'm talking about stem cells, your DNA, RNA. Like none of this shit works without melanin. Like literally.
Right.
So as I'm uncovering this, anyway, I'm jumping ahead. So as I'm starting to check out see the anomalies in the energy, and I go back and I do the studies, I see that there was a gentleman by the name of Max Kleber who had discovered back in 1938 that there was a similar type of anomaly. He noticed that the energetic output of people was off by about 30 to 40% from what they ate. So he went around the world and as best he could, and said, listen, this thing that y'all teaching about cellular respiration and ATP, it's wrong. If it's not wrong totally, it's incomplete because there's another energy source that people are tapping into that has nothing to do with like fat or ATP. There's some other energy processes. And they tried to debunk him, say he was crazy and all this other shit. Then they gave him a little award, a little recognition, quieted him down and went back to business. So right there, that gave me precedence to really press forward and go even deeper. So now I start to notice and I start to look for every documented piece of every article, every journal, just anything that I can find to validate and maybe even expound on some of the things that Dr. Africa had wrote about. Dr. Africa was the first person to really write in a book the physical differences of black folks' bodies and white folks' bodies. But again, it's Dr. Africa. You know what I'm saying? So black folks don't respect black folks. Period. You can't tell them Dr. Africa said this, so it's niggas like, well, yeah,
it's gonna be a tussle, as I
say. Here's where the brainwash comes in, and this is how it's disguised, right? This is how the brainwash is disguised. They say, well, what are the references for that? What that translates to is what white folks have said to say. Has white folks approved that message? If white folks haven't approved that message,
It's not right.
boom, it can't be right.
It can't be right.
So even Dr. Sebi, he was the first person to break down what they're calling now today leaky gut syndrome, and how leaky gut leads to autoimmune disease. He said that was the main cause of HIV, because when you have anal sex, the penis tears little holes in the anus and the colon, and you start to get feces and proteins and bacteria leaking into the bloodstream.
I know wasn't nothing right about that shit. I swear.
And,
ain't nothing right about that shit.
Hey, listen. More power to the sisters that want to put it all on the line. Listen, I want to appreciate the sisters that put it all on the line for a nigga though.
Ain't nothing right about that shit. Don't even ask.
But
continue.
Yeah, but that was that, you know, and that was one of the things that he was ostracized for early in the game. Saying things like, in terms of type 2 diabetes, he was saying things like mucus is building up inside the cells and it is stopping insulin from getting in. And so people are like, wait a minute, there's no such thing as mucus getting in the cell. You made that up. And I'm all alone. You know what I'm saying? Not even the children, grandchildren, nobody understands enough to really be able to defend some of the things that he was saying. And I'm jumping off the top rope like, hold on, that's not how that goes. When you discover something, nigga, you can call it whatever the fuck you want to call it. You discover it. There's not a vocab. It's not like somebody else discovered it and you're creating a misnomer. He was seeing people on a regular basis, and they're presenting him with new challenges, and he's documenting and trying to figure this shit out on the fly. So when you call it what you call it, that's what it is.
Right.
But of course he was crazy. They call him, quack and all this kind of stuff, only for 15 years to pass. And they discover intramyocellular lipids, which actually clog the cell and block the insulin from getting in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, so all of these things I discovered and uncovered rather as contributory to what we was dealing with, but I hadn't put my finger fully on the pulse of what was going on with type 2 diabetes yet. I did find out that our glands and our organs have a direct ratio of pigment to our skin, meaning the darker our skin, the more pigment we have in our organs, like our brain, our heart, stuff like that. So that's a big thing right there. I found out that our respiratory system is different. Our lung size is different. The electron transport chain in the mitochondria size is different. Like everything about our respiratory. And so because that's the most basic part to life is breathing, right? That in turn changes the way your body is structured and formed. So if you have a more efficient respiratory system, that gives you more anabolic hormone production. That gives you a larger ratio of fast twitch muscle to slow twitch muscle. Mm-hmm. And once I get on that, I start figuring like shit starts to unravel, right? Because what happens is your fast twitch muscle stores more sugar than slow twitch muscle. So right there, that's a problem right there. Fast twitch muscle. Black folks have more fast twitch muscle than white folks. And fast twitch muscle stores more sugar, glycogen, than slow twitch muscle.
Gotcha.
So off rip now, I'm like, well, we naturally store more sugar because we have more fast twitch muscle, and that we're supposed to be more active. We're supposed to be more active because we from the equator. On the equator, the lifestyle is different. You got constant sunlight, you constantly moving, it's constantly hot. So in those situations, the higher amount of fast twitch muscle, the sugar, being able to run and explode. All of those things are necessary for survival, as opposed to coming from a colder climate where you need slower twitch muscle for your,
Right.
for your body to be able to produce internal heat. See, the more slow twitch muscle allows you to produce more internal heat. And the lighter pigment or the no pigment in your skin allows you to create vitamin D faster because it's less sunlight up there. So the differences in physiology play a key role, but people are scared to discuss them. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's trying to get along right now. Like, no, we're all the same. We have 10
Yeah.
toes and 10 fingers, and yeah, that's about the fuck it. That's the only thing that's the same. Everything is different. So
Mm,
um from there I started to see, okay, now um again, because we are an equatorial haplotype and we're supposed to be getting sunlight all day, we store more cholesterol.
hmm.
So that's where the high blood pressure part comes from.
Right.
Our body stores more cholesterol because cholesterol is the precursor to vitamin D. When vitamin D hits your skin, melanin absorbs the UVB portion and then transfers that to the cholesterol and starts the process of making vitamin D. Your
Mm,
kidneys and your liver complete the process, which is why we have kidney and liver problems.
yeah.
But so so that's what the cholesterol is there for. The cholesterol is not the problem. It's our lack of taking care of our melanin and getting the light, right? Why fruit, plant-based juicing is more productive and proper for our diet. Later I'll get to that, but that's not exactly true because when you're juicing, you're not getting the fiber that you need. So we'll get to the
So
just
the big juice situation don't even help us. Is basically what you saying.
juicing is cool. Well, see, here's the thing, and this is where it gets confusing with diets and eating patterns. If we come from soda and Kool-Aid, right? With most of us on sodas, Kool-Aids, or Minute Maids, fruit punches, shit like that, and we start to drink fresh made juices, of course it's way more beneficial than what we've been doing, but it may not be the best for our situation. You see what I'm saying? So there's room always to continue to grow and do better and learn more and get better. You know what I'm saying? So absolutely it's nutritious, is vital. ITAL, you know what I'm saying? For our island folks, it's ITAL and all that, but it's more that we could do because we really need to make sure that we're getting in the fiber, the pigments, all the vitamins, and all those things. And sometimes we get rid of that in the pulp. The pulp is the fiber, and a lot of the nutrients are locked up in the fiber.
And we do not like pulp. I don't. I hate pulp.
Yeah, and that's like some of the most nutritious part of the fruits and the vegetables. You know
Well,
what I'm
I
saying?
know that now, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna be better about that.
So yeah, so I mean, but I still juice, you know what I'm saying? But what I do is a lot of times I'll save the pulp and put that in something else. Like I might throw that in a yeah, I
Mm,
might throw that in a smoothie for later, or if I make like a vegan cheesecake, I'll add that to the, you know what I'm saying, to flavor it up and make it look good,
that
stuff.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you still need the fiber, you know what I'm saying? Or you could cheat and after you juice, you could dump the fresh juice in the blender and just add a little oatmeal to it. The oatmeal will bring some fiber in there and it don't really have a taste. So it ain't like it's gonna mess with the taste. It'll just be
I
like
think
thicker.
that's our biggest issue is taste. We want to taste our
You know,
food.
that's addictions. You know what I'm saying? We got to deal with that. But here's the thing with addictions. I find out that melanin makes us more addictive to things
Mm,
because your reward pathway inside your brain is a dopamine pathway. These are neuromelanin cells producing the dopamine. And then all of the melanocytes in your skin have opioid and endorphin receptors. So the more active your melanin is, the higher your chances of becoming addicted to stuff. So I tell people all the time, it's not really about quitting your addictions, it's more about replacing them. You know what
mm,
I'm saying? That's going to be the easier thing for you to do is to replace your addictions. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause
right.
when I was in high school, I used to chain smoke. You know what I'm saying? One cigarette after the next.
Yeah.
You know, but my love for reading kind of replaced that, and then I couldn't go in and out of the bookstore, and then it wasn't really a sexy vibe. You smelling like cigarettes. You know what I'm saying? Like so. Between women and books, it was like,
Oh
cigarettes.
my god.
Yeah, that's but I mean, to each his own. Like everybody got to find their shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That helps. That they're more passionate about something that because just trying to do it just for the hell of it, those things don't really last.
No.
You can willpower some changes, but unless those things are really rooted in something solid, it's not going to last. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So eventually, though, I would begin to learn that insulin and glucose even weren't the major to diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
The major factors were your neurochemistry, and in your neurochemistry, particularly a hormone called melanin concentrating hormone. That's where the real like breakthrough of this whole like decade long study came through when I found melanin concentrating hormone. And even that messed me up because I'm like, yo, why the fuck did I never heard about melanin concentrated hormone in school? Now at the time, I'm I'm a certified trainer and all this other bullshit. So I done studied all kinds of tech beyond school. I done studied all kind of anatomy and physiology. Melanin concentrating hormone was not there. Even listening to these guys online, and partially my fault because the brainwashing is always there.
Right.
So we always prefer to listen to a white guy instead of our own. So
Right.
you hear your people speaking, but you want to hear the white folks because them niggas on TEDx and they over here and over there, and so you start hearing about leptin and ghrelin and all of these other things, and you're like, oh yeah, they must really know. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
nobody mentioned melanin concentrating hormone ever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The structured water guys, they never mentioned melanin, even though melanin plays a key role in structuring water. And it's like melanin just never came up in any of these scientific forums to the point where once I start learning that all your neurochemistry and biochemistry begins and ends with melanin, I learned that this was really a genocidal, like, this is a concerted effort. And the way that it works are the scientific journals. The scientific journals function as first of all, I didn't know that scientific journals was $1 billion business. I thought scientific journals was like this innocent place where they all about truth and justice, and
Right.
anybody that does research, you can submit it to the scientific journals, and if it's good, they'll post it. And this is no, that shit
Right.
is $1 billion business. Backed by the pharmaceutical giants, and this is that. So they create a gateway where if your shit is not in alignment with what they got, it doesn't. It's like the car business. You know how many motherfuckers then came up with batteries that last with 10,
Yeah.
20 years. They killed them
Right.
motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? These
Right.
niggas coming up with water engine. Them niggas just disappear. So I don't know how these people don't think that the same thing is going on in the medical business when the medical business makes like a zillion times more money than the car business. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
if revolutionizing cars could get you clipped, what do you people think that the medical business is like, but but so I learned that, you know what I'm saying? And so now I started to put things together piecemeal. I had to do my studies, do my research, then from there take my findings and validate each piece by piece. I have to look at NAD and find out its interactions with pigment. I got to find out this and that and put each piece together. And so I find out about melanin concentrated hormone, and that, like I said, blows the doors off of this thing where I find out this is the master hormone that regulates everything that we know of as a problem with diabetes, from muscle energy metabolism to insulin to blood sugar to sleeping patterns, like all the things they tell you is problematic. This hormone regulates. and living a lifestyle, basically, not just eating, but living an entire lifestyle that is anti-melanin is the real cause of type 2 diabetes. The whole lifestyle is anti, from the setting up of work and school. When you 99% of the population, when we're supposed to be outside getting that sunlight, we at work or school.
Right.
You get a 45-minute to an hour break. You damn near making it to the place to get your food and back and eating it in that time before you gotta
Right.
get back on the clock.
Right.
So from the time the sun come up to the time the sun go down, you somewhere inside. You're not allowed to be outside.
Right.
We don't understand the synthetic light's effect on our bodies. The synthetic sounds, moving from analog to digital. Like there's so many different facets of our lifestyle we take for granted that has an impact on us. Not everybody else, because everybody else doesn't have the same amount of pigment that we have.
Right.
Even the diet. When you think about it, a meat, starch, processed diet is what? It's anti-pigment. Because when you eat natural fruits and vegetables, where is the nutrients? Locked up between the pigment and the fiber.
Mm-hmm.
So processed food is where they remove the color, the pigment, and the fiber from the food.
Okay, I got a question.
Fire away.
We talk about, eating more fruits and veggies and stuff like that, but even the fruits and veggies are processed now. So for the people who can't start their own farm or don't have, a choice of going to the country, because in the country you can ride by the side of the road. There's a man with watermelons and tomatoes and stuff like that. Where do us city folk go to eat healthier? Or
The supermarket. We go right to the supermarket. Let me tell you, that's a big misnomer. And like I said earlier in the show, people that don't really want to change, they will find any excuse possible to not change. So I'll give you a quick story real quick. Back when I used to live in Philly, it was one of the brothers, and we used to love him, Steve. Steve worked in the WIC place, in the WIC center. So he used to educate, like he used to he would be remixing shit, but it was all love because he was really making a difference. When the moms would come in there and get their WIC shit, he'd give each one of them a quick earful about healthy diet and woo woo.
right.
So, but Steve was annoying than a motherfucker because
Real talk.
man, he would just
I
ask.
would probably be like, yo, chill.
No, listen, he would ask the most ridiculous questions. And like sometimes the class will get sidetracked because Steve coming up with
My
this
God.
crazy shit. So, but one day anyway, we doing Sunday school. That was my thing. I always been a ordained minister. But so we doing Sunday school. That was my day when I teach. But science though, it's not really. And so we in the office looking out the window, and Black and Nobel right across the street, it was like a Church's, I think it was, or Popeyes, either Church's Chicken or Popeyes, one of them. So we see this nigga Steve coming out with the 2-piece and the biscuits and all that shit, and he stops under the bus stop so nobody can see him.
Oh,
knock,
wow.
knock off the chicken and biscuits and shit real quick.
Steve.
And then he come up to class. Now I'm like, yo, don't, Steve is a good nigga. He's let him have his transgression. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. We all in our journey upward, we all slip back. You know what I'm saying? That's a part of doing better. You know what I'm saying? If we don't accept the slips, then we're not human. It's not realistic. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, we do the class 2-3 hours, whatever. We get to the end of class, Q&A. Here goes Steve. Well, Dr. Enqi, you're suggesting that people eat more citrus because citrus actually is really good for your kidneys, citrus fruits.
Okay.
So he like, but Dr. Sabi said that grapefruit is a hybrid, or either he said either that or he said something about the pesticide or whatever it is. And so I'm like, Steve, see, I ain't want to bust you out, bro. But this when it comes to this health thing, it's not about like being a monk. and eating the purple lotus flower from the top of a
Right.
fucking mountain. You know what I'm saying? It's about doing better and doing your best for where you are, what your budget is, like doing your personal best.
Right.
So it
Gotcha.
doesn't matter if the grapefruit is a hybrid and it's sprayed with pesticide. It's still going to be more nutritious than the fucking chicken and the fries and the biscuit we just saw you knock off outside, nigga.
Got you. Got you.
So at that point, he just let it go. He was embarrassed. But
Right.
for the rest of the class, it was something that they really needed to absorb, because a lot of times we get into a philosophical space where it's like, we need to have the perfect this, that. No, 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 no. It's just about what's better. It's about learning that the white rice and the yellow rice, is converting directly to sugar. So if you got to have rice, you
Get
want to
brown.
get brown rice or the black wild rice.
Mm-hmm.
The pasta converts right to sugar. So if you're gonna do the pasta, get you some veggie pasta, right? It's slightly better. You know what I'm saying? Um, Try to live in your produce section, or live out of your produce section as opposed to cans and boxes. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And once you start to do that, that makes it easier. Like when people ask me what's the first things they should eat if they transitioning, like unless you got a condition, if you got diabetes, cancer, or something like that, then it gets more specific. But if you're just trying to eat healthier, eat your favorite shit. You know what I'm saying? Maybe fucking purple grapes and corn is your favorite fruits and vegetables. Start there. Because if you eat the things you already like, chances are you'll be able to stick with those things long enough to be able to start to change your taste buds and your microbiome, which is what controls your craving. So your taste buds and your microbiome control your craving. It takes you about 3 to 4 weeks before you start to change your taste bud receptors. So if you eat a lot of sugary processed shit, you gotta your taste buds reflect that. When you switch to more natural foods, your taste buds reflect that. So you'll start getting a craving for that. Like me right now, if I get hungry or have a taste for something sweet, I'm gonna have a taste for like a sweet ass, nuts and bananas and like some type of oatmeal smoothie. Like that's what. But if somebody else has a sugar craving right now in they mind, like a triple chocolate brownie ice cream might pop into their mind.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's because of how we've acclimated our taste buds and our microbiome, our little bacteria goes along with that. The
Mm.
type of food we eat create the microbiome. So whatever we eat, we have microbiome that goes along with that. You know what I'm saying? So all of those
My
things come. Go ahead, sis.
my other question was: Is are organic foods better than just getting the regular stuff?
Yes and no. They are a lot more nutritious, but again, to make it real, like I'm a single dad with 5 children. They mama is the ultimate deadbeat. So there's zero help. Like these motherfuckers ain't got a birthday card in half a decade from their mama. Like, so I'm only saying that to say, like, balling on a budget is a religion in my house. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
Right.
So,
Right.
so everything can't be organic. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Right. Because
You're
it's
gonna
expensive.
right. And so if we're just talking in a philosophical sense, typically organic fruits and vegetables are going to be much more nutritious. They're going to have much more minerals and vitamins. But again, if we're comparing in a philosophical space, yeah. But if we're in a reality based space,
Right.
the produce that's not organic is going to be way more nutritious than the shit from a can, because we still got to eat regardless. So maybe our real options are not organic versus non-organic. Maybe our real options are french fries and mashed potatoes versus non-organic, or canned vegetables versus,
Right.
what I'm saying? So in that sense, it's always better to get the fresh. And so what you try to do is, early on, what I learned to do is basically your berries, like those things you want to get organic. You know what I'm saying? Because the skin is so thin, all of the pesticide is gonna be
Gonna
soaked into the
right.
vegetable. So even cleaning off, you clean off
It
grapes, you
don't
wash off
even.
strawberries,
Yeah, I
it's in
got
there.
you.
It's in that mother.
Ah,
You know what I'm saying? So ain't no amount of cleaning that you could clean to get the chemical.
right.
But
I really, really, really hate to, because
no, go ahead.
we got a time, but I want to get to the purple phase. Can you? We got 15 more minutes, and I don't want to get out of here without asking you
Oh
about
man.
that.
Okay. Damn, it's so much information. Remember,
I
it
know,
was a
and you
10-year
will.
10-year
Would
study.
you like to come back?
Absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely.
cool,
Yeah,
cool,
yeah, yeah.
cool.
Tell knowledge to set it up. We do 2 parts, 3 parts, 10 parts.
Okay.
We'll
Well,
do the
we'll do
whole
a part two. Yeah.
yeah, we do the whole spring and summer if necessary. You know what I'm saying? To really, because it doesn't really make a difference if we don't make a difference. Like
Absolutely.
if we don't change at least one life, you know what I'm saying? Then we just bullshit. But so basically with the purple phase, um, this is a herbal compound um based around your melanin access to improve your neurogenesis and melanogenesis. Neurogenesis is how fast you replace your brain cells. When we were younger, we were taught that you didn't replace your brain cells. Later on, after I got deep into this, into this study, I find out that in a healthy person, we replace anywhere from 500 to 800, like 700 average brain cells a day.
Hmm.
So, I began to put together a specific formula that sensitizes the body to feed the brain, feed the body. So in the brain, you have a stronger production of palm C, and palm C becomes your melanin stimulating hormone. So we have melanin stimulating hormones, 3 different melanin stimulating hormones. Then on the other side, we have melanin concentrating hormone, and those guys work with your thyroid hormones. Um, then you got your neuromelanin, your melanin caps, melanosomes, right? All of those things need support, and our diet. I mean, if you know that it's not in the textbooks, goddamn well
Right.
it's not in the diet or in
Right.
the herbs and things like that. So we put that together to really support, NAD, not just the melanin system, but all of the facets around it. NAD serves as an electron carrier. That's where, when I figured out that mystery of what melanin was doing with all the energy it absorbs, like right now, you sitting there right now, your melanin is absorbing light.
Right.
It's
That's why
turning
I'm
that
hot.
light. It's turning that light into electricity, and it is shuttling those electrons to NAD. And then NAD, depending on the needs of the cell, is able to shuttle those electrons directly to DNA, RNA, your NRF2 system for defense, to mitochondria to produce ATP, like just a variety of different. So melanin facilitates a lot of intercellular biochemistry, but then you got your neurons or your nerves, you know, um, like when we talk about fat loss, that was another crazy thing for me to find out that fat loss, right? Fat loss is based on melanin too, because all of your fat cells, or most of them anyway, are connected to your nerves. So we put together a whole program, you know what I'm saying, around being able to, because what happens is you have cortisol and epinephrine. Cortisol and epinephrine are your stress hormones. And when you stressing and you're not eating properly, those two things turns into the basically the neurotransmitters or the neurohormones that's going to make your body fat and unhealthy.
Hmm.
With the right kind of diet and exercise program, you can actually weaponize them, and those things will turn into fat burners. They will literally shrink your fat cells, take the fat out of the fat cells, turn it into sugar, and then push the sugar into your muscle cells to burn up. right? That's all based on your nerves, which are also melanated, melanated cells. So so yeah, we got the purple phase as a large part of our whole little kit and caboodle that we put together to support folks. But um if they click on that link right there, the melanin disease farm prescription, there's about, I don't know, I want to say maybe 30 hours of video to study. The article is there, and then the kit with all of the different herbs to support all of the body's tyrosinase and just all of the different facets of getting us back into the solar equatorial creatures that we are, to get us back into the tip top. And right now we at the top of the spring, so this is the time where you know things are beginning to tip in our favor again. So we got to maximize this solar season coming in. And what we've been able to do is um, change the output from the melanocytes, beef that up. Some of the herbs in this formula have been documented to up regulate the output of your melanocytes 2,000%, and the actual pigment in the skin lasts up to 600% longer. So we've been really able to really have some success. This is the third compound that I ever created. So I've been playing with this formula for the better part of, I want to say, maybe 15 years or a little bit more, tweaking it, making changes, perfecting it, over time. So it's not like something I put together last weekend and flipped out there on folks. I
Right.
was I was playing with that since right after my daughter came out of the hospital. So
Okay. How can we get a hold of it?
it's on the website, but people can always just text me. My number, that's my real number, five
Okay.
eight six two nine
Okay.
eight 5000. Yep,
I'll
five
put
eight
that back
six
up
two
there.
nine eight
Hold
five
on.
thousand. Just text me diabetes or help with diabetes, or just text me help and I'll send you the link, and then people can go from
It's on
there.
the banner on the bottom if anybody was wondering,
Yep.
and it's also in the comments as well.
Yep.
We definitely gonna have to get you back in here. We done already went over the time. I try not to go over an hour and 30 minutes because of the radio station. But I want to thank you for coming in, and thank you for definitely clearing up a lot of conspiracies. And
I got a question for you.
yes, sir.
Where can I get that clip? I need to have that to play on my channel.
Which clip?
That clip you put on there earlier where it said why I'm not famous yet because you didn't share my video.
Oh, you can get that. You can get that
Woman my
up
pain with her fingers. What? That's that. I need that. I need
You
to
can
play
get
that
that.
everywhere.
Okay, gotcha. I'll get that to you.
Yeah.
But definitely, thank you for coming in. We're definitely gonna have to do a part two because I know for a fact that I'm not the only one that would like to listen a little bit more. Where can we find you? Like, do you have a podcast or?
I'm out in these streets.
Oh, you out here in these streets?
I'm out here in these streets.
He for the
I'm
streets,
on,
y'all.
I'm on Clubhouse. I'm on, IG. I'm on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? But they got my number. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, and what is the do you have your what you call them on? Is it the same thing across all platforms or?
Dr. Enqi. Yep.
Okay, Dr. Enqi, simple as that.
Yeah.
Most definitely enjoyed your visit on today. Like I said, y'all, we're gonna try to get back together so we can come up with a part two to this. I've definitely enjoyed you, and not just that, I've definitely gonna take the information that you've given me and put it into place. There's no reason for me not to. I definitely want to be healthier because I don't want to leave my babies. I feel like my grandma just left me here and I'm an orphan.
Man.
But,
listen, I'm gonna tell you, that's my biggest motivation because
right.
I know guys, I've had friends that had died in their 30s, 40s, and then I know a lot of guys, chasing bread, whether it's legal or illegal, they get a few dollars. They're not even healthy enough to enjoy it.
Right.
You know, they can't play basketball with their kids. They can't play jump rope with their daughters. Like, this shit is crazy. Like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's my motivation.
Let's take care of ourselves, everybody. It has been another epic episode of Locked and Loaded. Y'all make sure that you share, and I'll make sure that I'll keep you guys updated because I know y'all gonna be in my emails asking when is he gonna be back. We're definitely gonna work that out so he can come back. This is Kitty Pink Radio. This is Locked and Loaded. I love you all. I want you to love yourselves. Y'all make sure y'all check us out this Thursday for our new show. 1 minute, baby. Y'all know how this goes. Bitch, I'm a mother, so excuse the accolades or whatever. But y'all make sure y'all join us this Thursday for Midnight Madness with me and DJ Lady J Rock. Also, make sure that you're back here Friday morning to chill with your girl for Coffee with Kitty. Once again, thank you, Dr. Enqi. Y'all put some hearts in the comments for Dr. Enqi. Let him know that we appreciate all his information, and I promise y'all, we're definitely going to get him back. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.
You're tuned in to Kitty Pink Radio, where Black media matters. Keep it locked.